Yeah, because I think all you end up getting is kind of the color blur. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Chris Lloyd, and I'm here with Dr. Amanda Garcia. We're going to be talking about the digital design program today. So we're just going to go over the agenda very briefly, and then we'll talk more in depth as we go along. If you end up having any questions, please submit them through the chat function or through the Q&A. But just to give a little recap of what we're going to go over, we're going to be talking about the history of SOPA a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about the digital design program, go into depth about the different program options, and then we'll have some of those logistical pieces at the end where we talk about cost of attendance, how to actually submit, when the deadlines are, and then we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. So if you have any topics that come up, please make sure you submit them through that chat and Q&A function. So I know we gave the brief introduction, but Dr. Garcia, could you tell us a little bit more about your background?
Sure, absolutely. Well, welcome again. Thank you for joining us today on your lunch break, I'm assuming. So I'm Amanda Garcia. My background, my undergraduate degree is actually in architecture and environmental design. My master's is in graphic design, and then I do have a PhD in curriculum and instruction. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Garcia.
Of course.
And for those of you that have seen some of our webinars before or dropped by our Elmwood campus, my name is Chris Lloyd. I'm an admissions associate here. So I'm one of the people that works with all of our prospective students, as well as once our students actually get in here, I help you with that transition towards getting with your advisors and meeting with your program directors. So today we're going to be focusing on digital design program. Right now we're actually in our interactive design lab. So for those of you that are seeing this in high enough definition, you can see a little bit of our student work here in the background. Whenever we host these sessions, we always like to show you guys a little bit of what that student experience is like. So we broadcast live from our labs. And as you can see, Dr. Garcia has curated a really wonderful space for students here.
Yeah.
And so first, I think it would be a great jumping off point for us to talk about the interactive design program.
Absolutely, absolutely. So interactive design is one of our 3 tracks. Students in this program could expect to go into fields like app design, web app design. We really focus on the front end of the web experience. So you'll take classes in user research. So we call that UX, it's user experience research. And so we look at things like how people interact with devices, how people read the page, what is the appropriate amount of time for them to look at something before they lose interest, right? How do we use interactive elements such as After Effects motion elements or typography in motion, etc., to really enhance the user experience. So once we understand how to speak to our audience, then you'll get into classes in the interactive track where you start to go into the UI, from UX to UI. So UI is user interaction design, and that's when you get to practice your design skills for actually designing everything from icons to logos for the app itself, all the way through developing the interface for the app. And we go into prototyping software such as Balsamiq, Adobe XD, etc. There's a million of them that we use, and it's a lot of fun. So students actually have working prototypes of the apps they can test on their phones and on their tablets. So then after that, you build on the app experience to the web experience. So we know that mobile is what people use primarily, right? So we call that mobile first. So everything that we design is mobile first. So after we take it from the app, then we look at it on a tablet or a desktop, and we would design web apps for that. So, you know, as you move through your courses, we build on content. You'll also get to a point where you'll be taking classes in motion design. We call it digital narrative, where you'll be stringing along images and copy and sound to create storytelling, visual storytelling that goes into those apps and into those interactive pieces. We also encourage you throughout the program to really think about what your career goals are, where you want to be after graduation, and then we can tailor some of those courses. If you want to go more into motion, we also have some motion classes in our game art track that might be interesting to you. If you really like the animated type side of things, we also have animation classes in our gaming track, and they all work together in a really interesting way. If you really love the design side of the app and understanding how you know, to create the interfaces and the 2D portions rather than the 3D portions of interactivity, we also have graphic design classes in design and layout specifically that you can take to complement. So because we have those 3 tracks, there is definitely flexibility to really customize your portfolio and the works that you have in that portfolio to get you the job you want after graduation.
I think that's sitting on a really important point with the program design, which is these different tracks all have interactions together where you can get an opportunity to really explore maybe an interest that you didn't know you had until you got in here.
Absolutely.
So maybe you're someone where game art and animation is not in your background, but you see the lab, you see the student experience, and it's something that you grow.
You want to dip your toe into that and see if it's something you like.
Yeah, and I feel like that really is a testament to our program's design, where you've set up our students to where they get an opportunity to learn about these vast reaches of the field, and then they synthesize it into their own work.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in each of our studio classes, all of our courses are studio courses. So you're in the classroom for 2 hours and 40 minutes once a week. And in those course times, you know, we are really working on developing pieces for your portfolio. Portfolio development is the reason we're here, right? It's the thing you're going to use to get a job after graduation. So it really is all about portfolio development. All the courses, our faculty are very supportive of that. You know, they are all industry, and I know we're going to get into this in a little bit, but they are all industry professionals who are teaching in our program as well. And so they know what they're looking for in their firms or their agencies. And so they're going to make sure that the work that you're creating is to the level that they would expect in those different companies.
Definitely. And so I think something that we want to make sure that we hit on is talking about really how these programs came to be and about the history of SOPA. So for those of you out there that are maybe outside of New Orleans, maybe outside of South Louisiana, you may not have seen that SOPA name before. In 2017, we relaunched, and that's where you had that change from university college over to continuing studies, and then in 2017, continuing studies shifted over to school of professional advancement. And when we made that change, part of the update in that was updating our programs and trying to align it with what the professional workforce is expecting. And I know Dr. Garcia has already mentioned a lot of these different programs and skills you'll learn. And I think when you're looking at this from a perspective of someone who's evaluating a program, these might be unfamiliar terms to you, but if you look at the industry, you're going to see that these are skills that are asked for within various job postings that you see. And you'll also see that the program grows and develops with these new skills that are needed. So I think this dynamic quality of graphic design program is something that's really important for us to stress to you. So when we did the update with SOPA relaunch, all of the programs were designed with that in mind. So working with professional organizations that are out there that can help our students, so when they go into the workforce, they're prepared for it. And one of the ways that I think that you guys do a great job with that is the interaction that you have with the outside community. Can you tell us a little bit more about the professional community and the experience that students have?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very multifaceted answer to that question. So let's start from the beginning, right? So when we were looking at redeveloping this program, our first step was to create what we call an industry advisory board, which is just a fancy way of saying that we worked with people in the community working in these fields. And I met with them and I said, if you could go back to school today, what are the skills that you would need to be successful and to be able to excel in this career that you're in now, right? So not what did you learn in school 10 years ago or 20 years ago, but if you could go back today, what would you tell a student? How would you design a program, right? What are you looking for in somebody in your workforce, in your company? How do we train that student? But then also train them in a way where they will be just as relevant 5 years from now as they are now, right? And so we took all of that great feedback, and that's how we created the different degree plans. Also, now we have these great contacts in the community that now we're using to come into the classroom. So these professionals come into the classroom, they give critiques for like final projects, etc. We use them for internship opportunities, we use them for events, etc. So you have a ton of one-on-one time with all of these industry professionals.
That kind of responsive feedback is very rare in programs of study. It doesn't matter if it's graphic design or anything out there. You don't often get that ability to have someone from the industry that you're going to be going into, and potentially people who you may be interviewing in front of later, to get that responsive feedback on your work, so that by the time you're leaving the program, you've already experienced that collaborative spirit. You know what it's like in the field because the field has come to you.
Yep, it's very important.
So one thing that I think we really want to also stress is the flexibility of our program offerings. So for those of you that are outside of the New Orleans area, you can do a blended experience to where you're doing some of your coursework online. So maybe if you are out in Houston, you're out in one of these nearby places where you still have some connection to the city, and have the ability to come in and take classes, you can get that in-person experience, and you can also get that online experience. And as the online program is growing, I know that you and the faculty have been working really hard to try to support that student experience.
We are, yeah. So, for our online programs, we're just starting building our programs online, or our courses online. So we have 3 right now that we're building that are launching in the spring, and then we have another group of them in the spring that'll be ready in the summer, et cetera. So we're building our online coursework, but before we jumped into that, we wanted to make sure that we looked at what are some of the pain points, as we call them, in the interactive world. So what are some of the pain points that you as students were looking at and experiencing for online coursework in the design fields, right? And so we've come up with really creative ways to make sure that we have live, like using this technology to have live sessions or breakout sessions or video uploads, etc. Right? We also have, it used to be lynda.com if you're familiar, but we also have now, it's called LinkedIn Learning, access for all of our students. And you can log on at any time and have access to thousands of videos based on pretty much any topic of interest within our program. So you're never by yourself. I mean, these are professionally created videos, curated videos by industry professionals. So at any time, if you're taking an online class and it's late at night and you're working on something, you could look up a tutorial on Photoshop filters that make me look like I have brown hair, and you could probably find a tutorial on that at midnight, right? And so it's just a great resource for students outside of what we would consider like a traditional online experience. Yeah.
I think to add to that, something that's also really special about this program is when you have access to faculty that are working in the industry and they're able to, through the virtue of their experience, be able to mentor you a little bit, that you're going to be able to take on more than just what's in the classroom. You're going to be able to go to your professors. You're going to be able to go to Dr. Garcia and find more opportunities to do the work and engage with it. So whether that's service learning projects, internships, or whether it's just, hey, I want more practice. You've got access to the labs when you're not in class. You've got access to the faculty when they're not teaching. And having that kind of personalized feedback from both faculty, from the industry, from your peers, it's going to give you a really well-rounded experience. And something that I know Dr. Garcia has talked about in the past is about the composition of our classrooms. So we don't just have classes where it's going to be only adult learners, only students who are coming right out of high school, only people with a design background. Could you talk to us a little bit more about what a typical classroom experience is like?
Yeah, absolutely. That's just right. I mean, we do have a great blend of students, like Chris just said, that are new to the program, right? From perhaps high school. They could be new to the program in terms of coming from a career change. I mean, we have students who used to be chefs who now decided that they have a love for design and they want to come back and start fresh. And we do. We teach you from the ground up. That's a big question that we get, right? Is, am I going to be behind if I'm coming back to school in my 20s or 30s or 40s? No, you start from the beginning, right? We really take you from step one. This is how you create a new file, etc. Now, if you do have real world work experience in design or interactive or game art or animation, you can actually earn up to 24 credits just from your work experience. And that's 8 classes. I mean, that's a lot, that's 8 courses that you can earn. We have a whole thing called a portfolio review that you can get more information on, and we can send that to you if you're interested. But we want to make sure that you're getting credit for your work experience in these areas. We also have students who come from like medical fields. I mean, it's really interesting. So in class, you may all be in the same, let's say, app design class, but you have somebody who has 10 years in marketing who's now learning app design, has 15 years in hospitality, but now has come back and is learning app design. And so everybody's bringing these really cool and like rich perspectives in all these different areas, and it just makes the class experience more robust. You get more out of it, rather than just being in a class of everybody who's all kind of the same. It's a really, really great experience. We get a ton of positive student feedback on that topic of having these great mix of students. So I think it's definitely something unique to our program that you won't find other places, and it really makes your work stronger. It's a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah, and you think about it from the practical perspective of that you're going to be producing work that goes out to the public. Having a diversity of people who can review for you, who can help you to understand some of those challenges. Not all of us are visual learners. Not all of us are people who process in the same way. So having people who can help you to understand that perspective is going to make you a better designer and make you a more attractive employee.
absolutely.
So we talked a lot about sort of what the spirit of the program is and some of those skills you get, but I think we need to really focus in on what are those degree tracks that students have. So for students who are maybe coming from somewhere where they're starting a bachelor's with us, what would that be like for those students? What sort of credit requirements are there?
Sure. So there's 120 credits that are required to achieve your bachelor's degree. So it is a Bachelor of Arts. And it takes about 4-ish years if you're going to start from the beginning. If you have part of your bachelor's completed from another program, we can review your transcripts. We can accept up to 60 credits from your other institution. I'm not saying we can accept all the credits, but we could accept up to 60. And we will review that on a case-by-case basis with you and your advisor when you get here or send it to us. And so, we have our program built in blocks, right? And so students can really move at their own pace. So even if you wanted to complete a bachelor's degree and you only wanted to take 1 class or 2 classes per semester, not, 5 to 6 classes, right? Maybe like a traditional student would, if this is all they were doing full time, you can do that. So the way the classes are broken up are into blocks. So it makes it very easy for you to understand you have to complete block 1 before you can move to block 2 before you can move to block 3, etc. So you can see within the blocks which courses you can take together, and then you can see how they build on one another. It's a really great system. It seems to be working really well for everybody, so that's good. And it makes it very easy for you to plan out your life based on how much time it will take. I need to take these this semester because they're not offered next semester. All that is laid out for you, very cut and dry. We also recommend that you meet with myself as well as your academic advisor every semester, at least once a semester, if not more, to talk about your plan, right? To make sure that if you selected, let's say, the game art track, that after a year is still the right fit for you. Did you want to move into maybe some of the interactivity, etc.? So we want to make sure that it is a very good fit for you and that you continue down the right path. We also have our post-bac degrees. So these are certificates that are consist of 10 courses, and those post-bacs are for graphic design, interactive design, or game art and animation. So we have 3 different post-bac certificates. Once again, 10 courses. We do have students who take more than 10 courses because they love it so much. So if you want to take 15 courses, you can, but it only takes 10 to satisfy the certificate. And those, once again, are particular to the tracks themselves. So it's not just a general digital design degree. I mean, it is very specified. And then once you're here, we also do have minors as well. So if you wanted to get your bachelor's in graphic design, but a minor in interactive, etc., you can do that too.
Something that I think a lot of people might not realize about the PDCs is this is a way for you to just dive in and be taking content that is directly within the field. So if you're someone where you're a working adult and you don't want to complete another bachelor's, you don't want to be taking these maths and sciences again, and you want to get right into that skill development, that's where the post-baccalaureate certificate is a really great opportunity for you. And so if you're someone where maybe you're looking at that career change or you need to update your skills while you're in a role and are looking to advance, that PDC might be a great fit for you. And it's going to free you up from having to take all of those core classes that are part of a bachelor's. But something that I think that we didn't give enough weight to is talking about the review process that's built into the bachelor's program. So,
and it's in the post-bac too.
Yeah, so that's something where I think this is a really unique feature of the graphic design program. Could you tell us a little bit more about the upper and lower level reviews?
Yeah, absolutely. So the upper level and lower level reviews are within our bachelor's and our post-bac programs. So no matter what track you're on, game art, graphic design, or interactive design, you have to go through these reviews. So the lower level review is after block 2, which is about 4 classes. Same for the post-bac, it's after about 4 classes. That review consists of us just looking through your dossier, which is going to be just printouts of all of your work, everything that you've completed since you started. It also is a kind of a form you have to fill out, etc. But the faculty sit down and review the work with fresh eyes. So you're able to make edits, etc., from your final review in your classes, and then you put it all together. And what we want to see is a progression, that you're moving in the right direction. That's our time to catch you and say, okay, you need a little bit more help in Photoshop, or you need a little bit more help with your typography, or let's look at animation before you move into the advanced courses. It's kind of a checkpoint to make sure you're ready to go into your mid-level courses. So you pass that, and then you move through the next 2 blocks. And then you go up for your upper level review. Now your upper level review is a live presentation of your work to all the faculty. So it's kind of scary, but the purpose of that is to make sure that you're ready to move on to your upper level classes. So before we let you finish up and graduate, we want to make sure that there's no gaps that we need to fill, right? Those could be electives that we're asking you to take, etc. And so what that does, though, these reviews are in place to ensure that everybody graduating from the program, all the work is to a certain level, a certain quality, right? That we can help mitigate any issues that we may see as you move through the program. That way, when you graduate and you're going out into the workforce, your work is to a level where you're going to get employed immediately. We're able to make connections and put our stamp of approval basically on your work, that we stand behind it as faculty, that you're ready to go and represent Tulane and represent, our program as a whole.
Absolutely. I think that's a really great segue to talking about some of the ways that we help to support student success. So those reviews acting as a check to make sure that students aren't going on to where they're going to be outside of the depth of their knowledge or skills. You don't see that in many other programs. You don't see a sort of check-in between faculty and students to where you're getting an opportunity to see and diagnose what you need to improve upon. If you look at a traditional bachelor's for some programs, or even a PVC, there's just kind of that momentum to it where they keep you going. If you meet that minimum grade, you go on. And having these reviews is a good way to counteract that and ensure that the people who go out there and represent this program in the professional community are doing high quality work. So when you're seeing these Tulane alumni out in the field, they're people who you may run into as part of the hiring process, people who you're bringing back in to do these reviews, and having that large alumni network and also that large network of people who know and understand the quality of Tulane's work, that's huge for you. So if you're staying in the region, that degree has a lot of cachet for you. You can really go out there and see people who understand the value of that and aren't just seeing a degree. And so other ways that you can really see the student success supports are looking at some of our advising. So our advisors are very accessible compared to what you'll see in a lot of traditional programs. So with our advisors, you can use the Zoom platform like you're watching us right now. You can meet them in person, you can email, you can do phone calls. So whatever medium works best for you. So maybe you're a working adult where getting to campus during the day is a little hard. Being able to access your advisors at those different mediums is really important. And then also when you're working really closely with your program director, like Dr. Garcia, when you're working with the faculty, I found that their accessibility here is beyond what you're seeing in other programs, to where I regularly see Dr. Garcia in here during her downtime working with students. And it is rare you see a program director sitting there working closely with a student when they're not teaching that class. And I think that level of expertise and the willingness to share that knowledge to develop students is a rare trait, and that's something that our faculty have in spades. And I think, talking about the faculty composition is really important to get all of our viewers to understand that. And we've talked about, we have people who've come from career changes, we have people who work in the field. One of the professors that we have with us is a former student who made a career change from a very difficult, high demand field. He didn't change. These aren't people who are changing careers because of a monetary gain. They're changing it because they're seeing that this is a passion that they have. And that passion, I think, is a really important part of the program. So if you're someone where you maybe haven't had much interaction with graphic design and you've been telling yourself, oh, I don't have the skills to get into this, it's too late. It's never too late. We have students of all skill levels coming in. And I think Dr. Garcia can speak to that skill development that we see with students, whether you're a high school student coming in or your career change.
It really, our faculty are very good at understanding and meeting you where you are, right? Like that's a huge part of our philosophy here. If you are more advanced and you're in class for a week and you think, man, I feel like I already know these things, right? We give waivers all the time to students to move them and advance them to the next level class. If you feel like, I'm in this class and it feels a little too advanced for me, maybe I need to take a step backwards, we can do that as well. So all of our faculty are very accommodating, as well as with your degree plan itself. We can really customize it, like we talked about earlier, to what you need. And ultimately, our faculty are, there to support you to be successful. I mean, that's really what we're all here for, right? Like, we want you to be successful. We want you to succeed. And we want you to win awards like our program does. I mean, last year we swept the ADDIE Awards and all of our student work, and we expect to do it again this year. I mean, the work this year is even stronger than what we submitted last year. I cannot wait to enter it. I'm so excited.
I can't let that comment slide by about the ADDIE Awards. For those of you outside of New Orleans,
yeah.
This is the premier award ceremony for people who work in the advertising and marketing space. So this is all of the community within New Orleans and GNO who are there to celebrate their work. And you walk in and you see SOPA students are sweeping these awards, that they're out there trading business cards with these directors. I think that is huge.
It is huge, it is, it really is. And I think the students didn't expect quite a sweep last year, first year out of the gate, of the new program, for us to win 21 of 22 awards. We left one award for, another school, there we go. But, we're not boasting or anything. And then to advance all the way from regional to national and competed on the national level, which is amazing. So, this is the quality of work that we're producing, right? But we're doing it in a way that is flexible, that is accommodating, but that is going to be challenging, right? And that we have high expectations for our students, but we're also here to support you to get to that, right? To get to that level. It is really amazing to see students as they come in and they're trying, they really are trying. And then you start to see little by little how they're improving. And then all of a sudden they hit their stride and you think it's like the light bulb goes off and then the work just takes off, and it's a different pace for everyone. Some of you watching may already be there. You may already be working in this field and doing amazing things, but you want to learn about other things, right? Some of you who are watching may be brand new to this completely, but that's okay. Like, we understand how to work with both of those students in the courses that are still going to be challenging for you. And so it's a really fun program.
So I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about these logistical pieces where we actually tell you guys about how to apply, some of those deadlines. Yeah. I know, like, we enjoy talking about all of the actual pieces of the student experience, but this is one of those important ones that we've got to step aside for a moment. So the actual application process is really simple. So for those of you watching right now, you can pull up a tab in the background and go to sopa.tulane.edu. So sopa.tulane.edu, and you'll see this green Apply Now button. When you go into that, you're going to create an account and you'll be able to start the application online today. Because you guys are watching, giving us some of your lunch break, you'll also qualify for an application fee waiver. So if you reach out to me after this session, or if you use this code, FREEDAY, that's just one word, FREEDAY, with no space between the words. If you use that waiver code, it'll also work for you to make sure you're not paying that application fee. Because if you guys are submitting transcripts or giving us your time today, you shouldn't be paying that application fee. So once you go in there, what you'll need is a clear copy of an unexpired government-issued ID. So that driver's license you've got will work perfectly as long as it's unexpired. And then you'll also want to make sure you get those transcript requests. So we do accept digital transcripts as well as physical. Digital is going to be a little bit quicker for you, and that's what a lot of universities prefer now anyway. So you can go in and submit that request to be sent to soparecords@tulane.edu. So that's SOPA records@tulane.edu. If you have your unofficial copies, you can upload those, and we can get you reviewed a little bit quicker until we get those full transcripts. And then you can also send your physical transcripts in. So if you send those in to us, you can send them to our Elmwood location. So that's 800 East Commerce Road, Suite 100. So 800 East Commerce Road, Suite 100. That's in Harahan, Louisiana, 70123. If you're not sure about that address at all, definitely check our website, and it's going to be inside the application as well. If you are requesting transcripts from your school, they may default to send it to that St. Charles address. So make sure you're sending it to that East Commerce Road address. From there, it should only take you 5 or 10 minutes to go ahead and get that application started and submitted. So you'll have to provide all of that academic history, answer a few questions about your background for us, and then you'll be ready to go. Typically, if you get it submitted in full and we've got all those transcripts, you'll hear back from us within 72 hours, and you'll be able to start towards that journey. some of the other pieces that are going to be really important are those application deadlines. So we're just about to start our fall 2019 semester, so the application period for that is closed, but you've still got time for spring and for summer of 2020. So for spring of 2020, you're looking at an application deadline for undergraduate of January 1st. So if you're doing a PVC or you're doing a bachelor's degree, January 1st is that deadline you're looking at. And then for summer, you're looking at an August 15th deadline. So any changes to these dates, we'll post publicly, but plan on these dates right now. You got quite a bit of time to actually get through the process, get everything submitted, get transcripts requested. But while you're also doing that, I recommend reaching out to either me or to Dr. Garcia. Find out more about the program. If you're in the area, schedule a tour.
Yep.
The labs that we have here are fantastic. And when you actually get to see the space that's been curated here, what you have access to, I think you'll be impressed. I think you'll see that there's been a lot of very thoughtful work put into the design of these programs, whether it's from the aesthetics of the space or the actual program design. I feel like at every level, they're setting you up to walk into somewhere where it's an environment that feels welcoming, and it isn't going to be something where you feel like you're left out on your own. You're going to be supported.
Absolutely.
So the last piece to talk about is that tuition piece. So for spring 2020, you're looking at a cost of $474 a credit hour. That number can change if you were someone who maybe qualifies for a tuition discount waiver. So if you work for one of Orleans or Jefferson Parish for one of those city services, you qualify for a tuition waiver. That's a 20% discount. It can be really helpful for that cost of tuition.
That's great.
Veterans and active duty military also qualify for these same discounts, as do our police and firefighters. So if you're one of our service members or you're a first responder, this is a good way to reduce your cost of tuition. For our veterans, people who've separated out from the military officially, then you also qualify for yellow ribbon scholarships. Right now we have over 30 of those. Many of those are still unclaimed. For those of you who might not know, the yellow ribbon scholarship allows you to cover the shortfall between your educational benefits and that cost of attendance. So it effectively will reduce your out-of-pocket cost to zero, because there are stipends included within those educational benefits for books. So for those of you that are veterans, this is a great way to start your journey with no out-of-pocket cost. You can use your educational benefits, and then you qualify for scholarships.
Wow.
And for those of you that aren't veterans, just this week we announced over $50,000 in scholarships that were given out to students. And I believe there were digital design students within that group.
We did. Yeah, we had a few digital design students also. Yeah.
So those are great ways to reduce that out-of-pocket cost. And then we also do offer financial aid. So any of the standard loans, grants, anything that you would access at any university in the United States, you qualify for those too. So you'll fill out that FAFSA, see what sort of awards you can get. And then beyond that, there's also any of those public scholarships that you have access to. You can use those at our programs. So for those of you who are looking for ways to reduce that out-of-pocket cost, we also mentioned credits for prior learning. So Dr. Garcia was talking about getting up to 24 credits at the undergraduate level through a portfolio class. This is where you're using that experience that you have to really accelerate your time here. So if you're paying out of pocket, paying $1,000 for a portfolio class versus paying for 24 credits, I think you can do that math pretty easily there and see there's immense savings for you. So in addition to getting out quicker, saving money, that's a huge, huge bottom line for people. So one last piece that we want to give an opportunity for is if you have any questions. So I'm just going to check our Q&A and our chat so far, see if anyone has anything that they want to talk about, any topics we want to make sure get covered. So it looks like we don't have anything that anyone's asked about yet. So just to give a quick recap of what we've been talking about so far. We talked about the different program offerings within digital design. So you got that game art and animation track, the interactive design track, and then what was our third track?
Graphic design.
Graphic design track. Thank you. And within those, you've got that bachelor's or that PVC you can take. So that PVC is a way for you to get right into that content, focus only on that, get out a little bit quicker, whereas that bachelor's is that full university experience. So for those of you who've already completed the bachelor's, you're looking at that PVC or maybe doing another bachelor's. So you may be able to take some more fun courses this time around when you're doing that bachelor's. Maybe the first time you were stuck in a history class you hated, and maybe this time there's an elective that you would love to take. Either way, whichever piece is best for you, we're going to help support you on that journey. All right. Emily was asking for the application. Are you able to submit a portfolio?
You may, yeah, you can definitely send me a portfolio. I'd love to see your work. That would help for me to assess maybe which classes you don't need to take that we could sub for something else to kind of give you more courses that would be more applicable for you. I can also look at that and see if you have to tell us if you're a professional, if you already have a degree, or if you're a working professional, maybe we can even give you credit for that knowledge. So yeah, send a portfolio. You can send me a link to your website or a PDF or whatever is good for you. I don't know if you can submit that though via Slate. Can you?
So you won't be able to submit via Slate, but what I'm going to do before we close out is I'm going to share Dr. Garcia's email address as well as mine so that you have that information. And then when you're doing the application, definitely keep in contact with us so that you can make sure that we get access to those files. Because otherwise it's just going to be buried there in your application packet. And if we're able to help give you some sense of where you're going to be at in terms of credits for prior learning, then I think that's going to help you to understand that length of time you're going to be committed to.
Also, if you're, you guys wouldn't be starting until spring at the earliest. So this fall, we have a ton of great classes that are running that we would love for you to come and sit in on a critique, sit in on a lecture, see what the classroom experience is like. If you're not here locally, we could Zoom you into any class just like this so you could see. You could also, if you're not ready to start until perhaps summer or something, you could jump into one of our online classes and take a look and participate in one of their sessions as well. So we have people all the time who like to come in and sit in and check out a class ahead of time, just to have a better understanding of our environment, of our student body, etc. So feel free, Chris is going to share our emails. Feel free to reach out and we can set that up.
So is there anything else that you'd like to share as a last point of pride or any other thing that we want to make sure that people know about the program before we go?
Well, I would say check out our social media. So we are Tulane SOPA Digital Design. It's a mouthful. But look us up on Facebook and Instagram. Also our hashtag SOPA Digital Design, and you can see our students post work to that hashtag. So hashtag SOPA Digital Design, all one long string of characters. And you can see our students use that to post work. You can see things that we do in the community. I mean, we're constantly at events, activities. We just did this great bowling activity you'll see on there a few days ago where our students had bowling teams. We had fun t-shirts that everybody designed, and we got together and did this great event with the advertising club here in town. So I just would love to paint a better picture. It's not just in the classroom. It's really the whole experience. And so check out our hashtag SOPA Digital Design or Facebook or Instagram. Tulane SOPA Digital Design is our URL for this.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Garcia.
Problem. And Thanks for joining us, guys.
I just want to call it one last thing that Dr. Garcia brought up, which I think we didn't give enough attention to, is that interaction that your work has in the community and the opportunities for you to really be able to contribute your visual aesthetic to the design of your community, whether that's design for good projects or whether that's the work that you do. So think about the way that your work can really grow beyond the classroom and how people like Dr. Garcia can help support that. When you if you have any questions about the program design, if you want to see the classrooms, you want to take a tour, meet faculty, reach out to us. I've shared our email addresses in the chat. If there's any phone-in listeners right now, I'm just going to read it aloud for you. Amanda Garcia is at agarcia11, and those are the numbers 11, not spelled out. So agarcia11 at tulane.edu, and you can reach me at cloyd3@tulane.edu. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Reach out to me about that application fee waiver or use that free day code so that you can get started at no cost to you. But if anything comes up, definitely check out the website, come visit us in person, and we'll answer all of those questions. Thank you so much for your time today.
Bye, thank you.